okay, what can I do? So the idea I had with a bunch of people was to try and set up the world's safest bank. And I tried to go and do that. It was slightly arrogant or stupid, probably, to try to do because it's not easy. And we got together quite an amazing group of people. Still, we tried in Singapore, we tried in Switzerland, we tried in the US, it was just hard to do. The system is not there for you to try and change. And so in that process, a friend of mine, one of my clients, tapped me on the shoulder and said, you should take a look at Bitcoin. This was 2012. And I'd been aware of Bitcoin, and I took a good look at it, and he explained to me both the store of value proposition and the blockchain element, that anything could be trusted on the blockchain. I looked at this and I'm like, oh my God, this is the future that we need. Because the problem we've got is when a firm like Lehman Brothers goes bust, nobody knows who owns what. And somebody's going to get screwed in that equation. Just one of the very issues at the center of the system. Nobody knows who owns anything. So I started looking at that, and I started writing articles and invested in it first time in 2013. 2014, I started Real Vision because I wanted to democratize the very best financial information. So this is this movement. There's two things. There's the democratization of information, and then there's crypto. So crypto, as it starts building out as an ecosystem, you start to realize that, okay, this is now the fastest adoption of any technology in all recorded human history. There's a bunch of retirees, the baby boomers, and they've kind of screwed it all up because they've got all the debt. They've got too much equity exposure. It's really hard for them to retire. This is why the Federal Reserve don't like equities going down, because you've got this richest group on earth who are kind of stuck. They never got enough money to retire on. But I want to look through the eyes of the millennials. So they are 32 years old. At the same age, their parents at 32, the baby boomers, had all-time cheap valuations of equities, all-time cheap bonds, all-time cheap credit, all-time cheap property, right? So they couldn't help but make money. They kind of screwed it up because they actually ended up going into debt as well. But they couldn't help but make money. So then the millennials had the opposite, all-time record valuations of equities, all-time record valuation for bonds, all-time record credit, all-time record highs in property. So I'm like, these guys are screwed unless something else comes along. And that thing is crypto. Because the future expected return of crypto, it's been growing at 213% a year in returns. That's how much it makes, even though it's very volatile. Sometimes it's down to 70%. Over time, you're making 213% a year. It has grown as an asset. It's gone up. I think it's 2 million% since inception. No other asset in all recorded history has ever done this. And we haven't even started. I still think there's probably another 100x from here. If you're really thirsty and I gave you a bottle of water or sold it to you, you'd probably pay me 10 times too much for that bottle of water. If I give you 1 million bottles of water, they're worth precisely 0 to you. So scarcity has value. That's art, that's cars, that's almost anything. Humans value scarcity for whatever reason we do. And so if you're printing too much money, you're creating less scarcity. So yes, there's money everywhere, but the money has less value. So once you understand that, you say, well, what does it mean? The dollar hasn't collapsed. It's kind of where it was versus the euro in the last 5 years or whatever it is. And then you say, but my $50,000 salary now can buy me much less shares in Apple, Amazon, Google, Microsoft. In fact, units of the S&P 500, I suddenly can't buy as much. Since 2008, it's a fraction. I can buy like a third of what I could. Same with real estate, same with gold. And then you're like, assets have suddenly got expensive. They haven't. The value of your savings has gone down, or your money. Ethereum's kind of like owning a part of the internet. It's, as you said, I mean, everybody has to use Ethereum basically that uses this crypto rails, unless you're just in the Bitcoin world. But everything that we've talked about, and everybody will have, even if you're not very familiar with the space, will have heard the term DeFi or NFTs or tokens. And basically, most of that is still being built on Ethereum. But the network that Ethereum and Bitcoin does is different. You're the owner of the network and the user. So as a user, like you said, With the NFT, you're actually owning a share of the network itself. So everybody uses it, owns a part of it. Therefore, if the network's going to get used a lot, you're all going to get rich, and the value of the network's going to go up massively. And the more people build interconnections, so Metcalfe's law is not only just the number of nodes, i.e. the number of users, but how much they connect with each other. Well, you're seeing it because there's NFTs and there's DeFi and there's all of these applications, or the store of money aspect. These things all together, and then there's the linking of all of these, like Chainlink or some of these other protocols, Polkadot. They're linking all this ecosystems together. So I can send you $1 instantaneously, and we have no idea whether it went on Bitcoin rails, XRP rails, Ethereum rails. And guess what? We don't care. I promised you $1, you want to get the dollar instantaneously. That's interoperability. That's all coming. So this is what Ethereum is about. It's the magnitude of this network where everybody's developing everything on top of it, and it's scarce supply. So it's seeing an even faster adoption rate than Bitcoin now, for the reasons that seem pretty clear, because it has more use cases than currently the Bitcoin blockchain does. Doesn't mean Bitcoin blockchain can't in due course, but right now there's a lot more use cases in Ethereum. It's super exciting.